even though those test scores are not the most important thing in the world, and I know you know that, Yvette, it is something that the public and the courts and the legislatures want to know, right?
You have been in this world for such a long time, and you have really put your whole, I would say most of your adult life's work into researching homeschooling and not just the history of it. I mean, you talk about the history of it, but really you have a really deep understanding. And so talk for a little bit about your research that you've done. And I would love for you to take us, not through every step, but kind of what it was like from the beginning, 39 years ago when you started researching it. And I know this is a big question. This could take a long time. We have about 10, 12 minutes here. So we can continue this on if we need to on Wednesday, but talk about your research on homeschooling and where you've seen it go.
Okay. Way back in that time machine, around 1989-ish, I can't say the exact date, but I was already into it. In fact, I wanted to do a study on homeschooling for my doctoral dissertation, but it's a story we won't get into. And I can never prove it, but they did not want me studying and having a dissertation coming out of Oregon State University on homeschooling. So I did my work just on public school kids, but on my own, on the side, I was collecting data on private school children and homeschool children with the same questions as my doctoral dissertation. So as soon as they handed me the dissertation, boom, I went out and started publishing on homeschooling. And it was nice. It was kind of an off thing that almost nobody would look into. It was called the theory of reasoned action. And it was comparing homeschool, public school, and private school students in terms of their interest in doing science, in their interest in doing studying science, and their interest in doing laboratory science, and then what would motivate them. And as it turns out, and this is going to start to sound like a broken record, the homeschooled children were more engaged and more interested in science than most of the others. I mean, that's what I found. That was way back in around, like I said, 1988. Now, around that same time, just after that, Mike Ferris, who was one of the founders of the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, was making a speech somewhere or writing an article or something. He said, you know what we need in the homeschool movement? We need parents with their children to go down to their state legislatures and visit with legislators, and so that they can see their children, they're real, they're not weirdos, all that kind of stuff. And he said, number two, we need good, solid, sound, empirical research evidence. Well, HSLDA was the main sponsor of one of my first big studies. And it was a nationwide study of homeschooling. And we got into all kinds of things like parents' demographics, their income level, their ethnicity, education level, children, reasons for homeschooling, and standardized academic achievement tests. Now, even though those test scores are not the most important thing in the world, and I know you know that, Yvette, it is something that the public and the courts and the legislatures want to know about, right? And a lot of parents want to know too. Can my child, I'm not a government certified teacher, I don't even have a college degree, can my children possibly learn from me, to do basic math and reading and writing? So it was a big study. It was a first of its kind, and it got a lot of publicity. We went into the news. We made booklets. We did all those kinds of things. And we found out that on average, homeschooled children do very well academically. We mailed out thousands and thousands of paper envelopes stuffed with a family survey, and then probably 3 copies of each child's survey with self-addressed stamped envelopes. And then those got mailed in from all over the country to our little place in Seattle, Washington. We lived up there for 3 years. And then we had to open all those. And then we had to hand enter all of that into probably an Excel spreadsheet. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of hand entries. That's how it happened.
Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.